Most people over 50 know to watch their heart. Fewer know to watch an organ that, according to new research, may be aging faster than almost anything else in the body, quietly, without pain, often without any warning at all. That organ is the kidney. And a growing body of research now suggests that how well your kidneys are aging may predict how well the rest of you ages too, including your brain, your muscles, and how many years you get to live independently. If you are over 50, this isn't a small detail buried in a lab report. It may be one of the more important numbers your doctor already has and rarely explains, and by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why. So what did researchers actually find? Let's start with someone it might already apply to. Picture a man named David, not a real patient, just an example of how this tends to unfold. David is 58, energetic, walks most mornings, and has never had a health scare serious enough to worry him. At his last checkup, his blood work came back mostly fine, except for one number his doctor mentioned almost in passing. His kidney function was a little lower than expected for his age. No symptoms, no pain, nothing that felt urgent. David nodded, folded the printout, and went on with his life, the number forgotten within the week. That single, easy-to-dismiss number is exactly what researchers now believe deserves more attention than it usually gets. To understand why, it helps to picture what your kidneys are actually doing every single day without you ever noticing. Far beyond simply making urine, they filter waste from your blood, balance minerals, help regulate blood pressure, and produce hormones that affect everything from red blood cells to bone health. When kidney function declines, the effects ripple outward, and that ripple appears to reach much further than most people realize. Researchers analyzing data across 16 major non-communicable diseases found that chronic kidney disease was associated with the greatest acceleration of biological aging of all of them. On average, affected bodies measured roughly 6 years older biologically than their actual age, with the kidneys themselves showing signs of aging faster still. Separate research using DNA methylation, a way of measuring biological age directly from blood, found the same pattern. As kidney function declined, biological aging accelerated with it, even after accounting for weight, blood pressure, smoking, and diabetes. In a UK Biobank analysis of more than 280,000 adults with no kidney disease at the start, those whose biological age was already running ahead of their calendar age went on to develop kidney disease at nearly 3 times the rate of those aging more typically. Now, before this starts to sound alarming, there's an important nuance researchers are careful about. Kidney function naturally declines with age in everyone, even in healthy people who never develop disease. By the late 70s, many people with no other health problems will have lab values that technically cross the standard threshold used to define chronic kidney disease. Researchers increasingly view this as often reflecting ordinary, gradual nephron loss rather than active illness, especially when there's no protein leaking into the urine and no rapid decline. A single lower number on a lab report, particularly in later life, is not automatically a diagnosis and shouldn't be treated as one without the fuller picture your doctor can see. What matters more, according to large-scale research, is the trend over time and a specific marker called albuminuria, essentially a measure of protein leaking into urine that shouldn't be there. A massive analysis combining data from over 2 million people across 46 studies found that both lower filtering function and higher albuminuria independently predicted mortality risk at every age studied. Interestingly, the relative risk was actually higher in younger adults, but the real-world impact, the actual number of excess deaths, was far greater in older adults because so many more people in that age group are affected. This connects closely to heart health. In one large analysis combining diabetes, kidney disease, and cardiovascular disease together, people with all three conditions lost roughly 17 years of life expectancy compared to those with none, and heart-related deaths accounted for most of that loss. Kidney and heart health, it turns out, are far more intertwined than most people assume. The reach goes further still into the brain. Several large analyses, some pooling data from millions of participants, have found that declining kidney function is associated with a notably higher risk of cognitive decline and dementia, independent of other shared risk factors. Researchers point to several possible explanations. Toxins that build up when kidneys filter less efficiently, small vessel damage in the brain, chronic inflammation, and disrupted sleep, all of which may compound over time. Muscle tells a similar story. Roughly 1 in 4 people with reduced kidney function meet the criteria for sarcopenia, a real loss of muscle mass and strength, and frailty is nearly twice as common in this group. Frailty itself is strongly linked to a much higher risk of hospitalization and death, which is part of why researchers increasingly view kidney health as tied not just to lifespan, but to whether those extra years come with independence or without it. Think of a woman named Ruth again, not a real patient, just a composite of a pattern doctors see often. Ruth is 71 and has noticed she tires faster on stairs than she used to, something she chalked up to simply getting older. Her kidney numbers, checked at a routine visit, had been slowly drifting for years. On their own, neither the fatigue nor the lab number seemed worth worrying about. Together, they're exactly the kind of quiet overlap that's easy to miss and that researchers are now paying closer attention to. Underneath much of this sits a slower, quieter process, sometimes described as inflammaging. Low-grade, chronic inflammation that appears to both damage kidney tissue and spread its effects throughout the body. It's still an active area of research, not a fully solved mechanism, but it offers a plausible thread connecting kidney decline to aging elsewhere in the body. So, what actually helps? A handful of habits consistently show up as protective, though none of them are guarantees, and all of them work best alongside medical care, not instead of it. Blood pressure control matters enormously. Research suggests meaningful cardiovascular and survival benefits when blood pressure is well controlled, though the right target should always be individualized with your doctor, especially if you're older or more frail. One thing worth knowing, intensive blood pressure treatment can sometimes cause a small, temporary rise in kidney lab values. That understandably worries people, but researchers note it's often a short-term shift in blood flow rather than permanent damage. And it's exactly the kind of thing worth discussing with your doctor rather than reacting to alone. Diet plays a role too. Reducing sodium, generally under 2 grams a day, is consistently linked to better outcomes, and more plant-forward, fiber-rich eating patterns were associated with roughly a quarter lower risk of developing kidney disease in one large comparison. Protein is more nuanced than many wellness trends suggest. Adequate protein supports muscle as we age, but very high intakes can work against kidney health once function has already declined. So this is genuinely a conversation to have with a doctor rather than a one-size-fits-all rule. For people already living with reduced kidney function, a newer class of medication originally developed for diabetes, SGLT2 inhibitors, has shown consistent benefit in large trials at slowing further decline. Something worth asking a doctor about if it's relevant to you. Beyond that, regular moderate exercise is linked to slower decline and better outcomes overall, and improving sleep quality shows similar associations. And here's one worth clearing up. There's no strong evidence behind the old 8 glasses a day rule. What matters more is staying adequately hydrated without swinging to either extreme, something your body's thirst and urine color generally reflect well enough on their own. There are also signs worth knowing, not to self-diagnose, but to bring up with a doctor if they persist. Unusual swelling, ongoing fatigue, changes in urination, or protein detected in a routine urine test. None of these confirm anything on their own, but persistent patterns, tracked over time with your doctor rather than judged from a single visit, are what actually matter. What researchers keep circling back to is this: kidney health isn't just about avoiding dialysis someday. It's connected to how sharp your thinking stays, how strong your body remains, and how many of your later years you get to spend doing the things that matter to you rather than managing decline. None of this is about fear. It's about attention, the kind that's easy to give a number most people like David, like Ruth, have never thought twice about until now. So here's a question worth sitting with. When's the last time you actually looked at your own kidney numbers? Not just glanced past them on a lab report, but asked your doctor what they mean for the years you have ahead.